Disasters affect the lives of many people each year, and they can happen anytime and anywhere. Within minutes, a natural disaster can rip apart a community and change lives forever. There are some disasters that give you a warning, like a storm preceding a flood. Other disasters, like an earthquake, give no warning. What would you and the people you support do if your basic services such as water, gas, or electricity were cut off? What would you do if you were forced to evacuate your neighborhood or you are confined to your home? Once a disaster happens, the time to prepare is gone. Ask yourself, are you and the people you support ready? Dealing with a disaster situation is difficult enough, but problems can compound if you support people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Often they have unique needs that require more detailed planning. The more you plan for a disaster ahead of time, the calmer and more assured you and the people you support are likely to be. That does not mean you have to live in a constant state of worry or panic over life-threatening events that may or may not occur. It just means think ahead and be familiar with any needed precautions you may have to take. Preparation is the key to safety in any disaster situation. One way for you to prepare for disaster is to evaluate everyone's capabilities to determine what assistance they may need. Someone who is self-sufficient under normal circumstances may have to rely on help from others in an emergency situation. When determining what type of assistance each person you support may need, consider the following. Does the person have any physical limitations? For instance, difficulty walking, bending, or climbing stairs. These limitations may affect their coordination, and they may require more time and assistance when following a relocation plan. Does the person use any assistive devices such as a walker, cane, or a wheelchair? Is the device easily accessible in case of an emergency situation? Is the person hard of hearing? If that's the case, they may not hear early warnings and emergency instructions and may need assistance during a disaster situation. Does the person have visual impairment? If so, they may be extremely reluctant to leave familiar surroundings when the request for evacuation comes. They may also wait on and depend on others to assist them. Does the person know where the safe area is located in the home or where the designated meeting place is outside the home? Do they know where to go if they have to evacuate the neighborhood? In a disaster situation, you may become separated. For this reason, it is important that everyone knows where to go. Does the person know how to call 911? Do they know where the other emergency numbers are located if needed? Some people you support may not recognize a dangerous situation, and they may depend on support staff to assist them in an emergency situation. By knowing the capabilities and needs of each person, you will help ensure everyone's safety. Knowing in advance what disasters could occur where you live will help you prepare for them. These events can range from those affecting only you and the people you support to those affecting your entire community. Do you know what disasters could occur in your community? Do you live in a hurricane area, flood zone, or where earthquakes or tornadoes are possible? Does your community have a public warning system? Do you and the people you support know what it sounds like and what to do when you hear it? Find out if you have a local emergency management office. Many local emergency management offices maintain registers of people with disabilities and their needs so they can be located and assisted quickly in a disaster. Know where the public shelters are located in your community. Be familiar with and plan for different evacuation routes just in case certain roads are blocked or closed. Mark your evacuation routes on a map and keep the map in your disaster supplies kit. Remember to follow the advice of local officials during evacuation situations. They will direct you to the safest route.
The National Weather Service has issued tornado watch number 9990.
In my professional experience, I have found having a NOAA weather radio with a tone alert feature is essential. This is a good way to receive the most up-to-date weather information, including watches and warnings. It provides continuous broadcasts of the latest weather information from local National Weather Service offices. Weather messages are repeated every 4 to 6 minutes and are routinely updated every 1 to 3 hours, or more frequently in rapidly changing local weather or if a nearby hazardous environmental condition exists. The National Weather Service recommends a NOAA weather radio that has both a battery and backup battery, as well as a specific area message encoder feature, which automatically alerts you when a watch or warning is issued for your county. Certain television and radio stations will also broadcast emergency messages from local authorities. Find out which station broadcasts the emergency alert system in your area. In some emergencies, local responders may come door to door and deliver emergency messages or warnings. Listen carefully and follow their directions. A disaster plan is a personalized action plan that tells you what to do in a particular disaster situation. Having a disaster plan in place will allow you and the people you support to do what needs to be done to take care of yourselves.
However, the most detailed disaster plan is worthless if it is not discussed and practiced on a regular basis. Is there a disaster plan in the home where you work? Do you know where it is located? How often do you and the people you support have practice drills? Practicing your plan will help you instinctively make the appropriate response during an actual emergency. It is much easier to remain calm during a disaster situation when everyone knows what to do.
And if you can't make it to the basement during a tornado warning, the safest place to go is in the bathroom because you want to stay away from windows and outdoor walls.
Okay.
When you practice your disaster drills, explain to the people you support what is going on and teach them what to do as if it were an actual severe weather emergency. Never treat a drill like it seems unimportant. People will not take it seriously when an actual disaster occurs. It is your job to teach the people you support what they need to know to ensure their safety.
And during tornadoes, you want to stay away from the windows because the glass could break and it could hurt you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Based on your knowledge of the disasters in your area, simulate any problems or obstacles you may experience. How well you prepare and how much you practice will determine how successfully you deal with and recover from a disaster. Your disaster plan should also include what to do after a disaster occurs. After a disaster, your environment may be very different. Exits to the home may be blocked and sidewalks may be impassable. Your usual ways of getting groceries and medication may be disrupted. Utilities like electricity, water, and gas may also be disrupted for a long time. There could be so much debris on the streets that it would take days to clear it away. This could leave you stranded at home and keep others from reaching you. On the other hand, you and the people you support may have to evacuate to another location on a moment's notice. Because you never know when you have to evacuate, keep your vehicle's fuel tank more than half full at all times. It's also a good idea to have a smaller version of your disaster supplies kit in the vehicle. Do you have any pets in the home? If you do, have a plan in place for them in case you have to evacuate. If you plan on taking your pets with you during an evacuation, be aware that pets, other than service animals, usually are not permitted in emergency public shelters for health reasons. Prepare a list of family, friends, and boarding facilities that could shelter your pets in an emergency. Also, add any items your pet may need in a disaster situation to your disaster supplies kit.
Preparing for a disaster goes beyond just knowing what to do. To be adequately prepared, you should also have emergency supplies ready and available. Once a disaster hits, you will most likely not have time to shop or search for supplies.
Following a disaster, having extra supplies at home or supplies to take with you in the event of an evacuation can help you and the people you support endure evacuation or home confinement. If you don't have a basic disaster supplies kit, now is the time to assemble one. A disaster supplies kit should contain food, water, and other supplies you will need immediately after a disaster strikes. The kit should have enough food, water, and other supplies to sustain everyone living in the home for at least 3 days. Your food supply should include foods that require no refrigeration, are compact and lightweight, minimal preparation and cooking, and little to no water. Also, when planning, take into consideration any special diets anyone you support may have. For instance, if someone has diabetes or if there are any other dietary restrictions. Your water supply should include at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. Hot environments and intense physical activity can double that amount. Also, keep in mind you will need extra water for food preparation and sanitation. Always replace your supply of food and water every 6 months by replacing the older items with new purchases. Also, include prescription medications and personal health information for each person. Include names, addresses, and telephone numbers of any doctors and pharmacists. It is a good idea to have copies of these items. Remember, when making copies of any health information, maintain confidentiality. It is also a good idea to have non-prescription drugs for pain, diarrhea, upset stomach, vomiting, and constipation included in your kit. Be sure to check these items occasionally for expiration dates. Other important items to include are special equipment or supplies, such as extra glasses, hearing aid batteries, and other necessary health aids. Also include a first aid kit. You can purchase a kit that is already assembled or buy the supplies and make your own. Remember, never borrow items from the kit with the intention of replacing them later. You may forget to do so. Your disaster supplies kit should be identifiable for quick access by using bold colors or labels. Store the items in an easy-to-carry container. For instance, a plastic trash container or other plastic container, a backpack or duffel bag. You may want to consider storing supplies in a container that is on wheels for easy mobility. The supplies kit should be stored in a safe, dry place. Reevaluate what is in your kit at least one time per year. Being confined to a space for any amount of time can be difficult for anyone. With this in mind, having an emergency entertainment kit will help the time pass quickly and will give everyone something creative and stimulating to do. Think about the interest of the people you support and include any items they may enjoy.
No matter how prepared you and the people you support are for a disaster, there will still be a degree of stress if a disaster occurs. Stress is inevitable in a crisis situation. Stress is also very real for staff because of the increased responsibility that rests on them at the time of the emergency. As a reaction to stress, some individuals may become upset and display unusual behaviors. As support staff, you must do your best to anticipate and minimize stressful situations. This will help the people you support restore their emotional well-being and sense of control during and after a disaster.
The National Weather Service has issued tornado watch number 9990, effective until 2 p.m. This watch includes...
Give as much lead time as possible whenever you can for the person's benefit.
Hey, Michael and Jamie, they just issued a tornado watch for our area, so we need to prepare in case it turns into a tornado warning. So the disaster supply kit is in the basement, but if you guys need any personal items, now the time's to get them.
Okay.
I have what I need.
Should I go to the basement?
We're not going to go to the basement yet. It's just a tornado watch right now, so we're just preparing for if it becomes a tornado warning.
Okay.
Help people anticipate situations that may occur during a disaster.
I want to talk to you about some things that could happen during this storm. The lights could go out, and also there could be a lot of noise between the wind, the rain, and the thunderstorms. And also our daily routines could be interrupted. For example, dinner may be delayed because we could be in the basement for a while.
I really want to go to the movies.
And I'm sorry, there's a chance that might not happen.
I really do want to go to the movies.
Well, I know you're disappointed, but I'm sure we can make it for another time if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's good because this is going to be a very interesting
Make
night
sure
for all the
you acknowledge people's feelings.
The National Weather Service in Milwaukee has issued its tornado warning for all 20 counties.
Okay, everyone, they just issued the tornado warning, so we need to head down to the basement. Okay, we need to get to our safe area.
Always remain calm, objective, and respectful. If the people you support sense that you are upset and losing your confidence, their anxiety will only be heightened.
The tornado warning has expired, so we can head back upstairs.
Ensure everyone is ready for future events by restocking your disaster supplies kit and updating the disaster plan. Doing these positive actions can be comforting to everyone. Preparation is key to safety in any disaster situation. When a disaster strikes, you only have two options: shelter in place or evacuate. Let's take a look at a few natural disasters you might need to prepare for.
An earthquake is the shaking of the ground caused by a sudden movement of the rock into your surface. Earthquakes may only last a few seconds, or they may continue for up to several minutes. They can occur at any time of the day or night and at any time of the year.
Your first line of defense from getting injured in an earthquake is preparing ahead of time. Walk around the home and pick a safe place in each room. When picking your safe place, be aware that couches, chairs, beds, and dressers may move and block your pathway completely or in part. The shorter the distance you have to go to safety,
Let me show you how to get under the table.
the less likely you are to get injured.
When you're under the table, you protect yourself from things that might fall. It also helps if you hold onto the table so that it doesn't move. Okay?
Okay.
Let me show you the safe spots in the living room, too. If you'd be in the living room during an earthquake, it's important to get on an interior wall away from anything that can fall, like pictures, but also it's really important to get away from the windows. And you want to get down and cover your head. You want to practice?
Practice makes perfect.
Down as far as we can.
When an earthquake occurs,
Cover our heads
many
here.
people
Keep your
hesitate,
head, arms
trying
way
to
up. Yeah,
remember
cover your
what
head.
they should do. By
Yeah,
practicing
perfect.
beforehand,
That's great.
you will respond quickly and automatically, which helps protect everyone from danger.
Ryan, it's an earthquake. Take cover. Ryan, are you okay?
During an earthquake, wait in a designated safe place until the shaking is over. When the shaking has stopped, check to see if you are injured. If not, this is the time to check the other people around you. Move carefully and watch out for things that have fallen or broken that can create a hazard.
Okay, let's go get the
Be
first aid
prepared
kit
for
and get that
additional
taken out.
aftershocks.
Hurricanes are strong storms that cause life and property hazards such as flooding, storm surges, high winds, and tornadoes. A hurricane is a tropical storm with winds that have reached a constant speed of 74 miles per hour. Hurricane winds can blow in a large spiral around a relative calm center, which is known as the eye. As a hurricane nears land, it can bring in torrential rains, high winds, and storm surges. The storm surge and heavy rains combined can lead to flooding. Landslides are also associated with this heavy rain from a hurricane. Hurricanes can cause catastrophic damage to coastlines and to several hundred miles inland. It is important for you to know the difference between a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning. A hurricane watch is issued by the National Weather Service when hurricane conditions are a threat within 48 hours. Review your hurricane plans, keep informed, and be ready to act if a warning is issued. A hurricane warning is issued when hurricane conditions are expected within 36 hours. Complete your storm preparations and leave the area if directed to do so by authorities.
In the event of a hurricane, do not go outside. A sudden calming of the weather may mean that the eye of the hurricane is passing, but that the hurricane is not over. Listen to the radio or television to get the latest information on the track and duration of the hurricane.
Some floods develop slowly, sometimes over a period of several days, while others, such as flash floods, can develop quickly, sometimes only in a few minutes, and without any visible signs of rain. Flash floods often have a dangerous wall of roaring water that carries rocks, mud, and debris. It can sweep away most things in its path. Overland flooding, the most common type of flooding event, occurs when waterways such as rivers or streams overflow their banks as a result of rainwater or a possible levee breach can cause flooding in surrounding areas. Flooding can also occur when a dam breaks, producing an effect similar to a flash flood. Every state is at risk from this hazard.
Even if you live in a community with a low risk of flooding, remember that anywhere it rains, it can flood. Just because you haven't experienced flooding in the past does not mean you won't in the future. You are more at risk if you live in a low-lying area near a river or downstream from a dam. Even very small streams, gullies, creeks, dry stream beds, or low-lying ground that appears harmless in dry weather can flood. To remain safe from floods, you need to know how and when you are prone to them and how to react. You also need to understand the difference between a flood watch and a flood warning.
A flood watch means flooding is possible in and around the watch area. This is your clue to be prepared in the event of a warning being issued. At this time, you may want to move valuable items, including furniture, to a higher ground. A flood warning means flooding is occurring or it is imminent. Stay tuned to your radio or TV for further information. You will be informed if you need to evacuate. A tornado is a powerful column of wind spiraling around a center of low atmospheric pressure. They are nature's most violent storms. They can appear suddenly, without a warning, and also can be invisible until dust and debris are picked up or a funnel cloud appears. The narrow end of that tornado will move over the earth, whipping back and forth like a tail, destroying everything in its path. Planning and practicing with the people you support on how and where you take shelter is a matter of survival. Your first step in tornado preparedness is to know the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. If a tornado watch is issued, it means that a tornado is possible in and close to the watch area. This is the time to review your emergency plans and check supplies in your safe area. Be ready to act quickly if a warning is issued or if you suspect a tornado is approaching. If a tornado warning is issued, it means a tornado has actually been spotted or is strongly indicated on radar. You must seek shelter immediately. Winter storms can range from a moderate snow over a few hours to a blizzard with blind and wind-driven snow that lasts for several days. Some winter storms are large enough to affect several states, while others may only affect a single community. Many winter storms are accompanied by dangerously low temperatures and sometimes by strong winds, icing, sleet, and freezing. One of the primary concerns is winter weather's ability to knock out heat, power, and communication to your home, sometimes for days at a time. Heavy snowfall and cold can immobilize an entire region. Being prepared means knowing the difference between a winter storm outlook, advisory, watch, or warning. A winter storm outlook means winter storm conditions are possible in the next 2 to 5 days. A winter weather advisory means conditions are expected to cause significant inconvenience and may be hazardous. When caution is used, these situations should not be life-threatening. A winter storm watch is issued when severe winter conditions such as heavy snow, heavy sleet, significant freezing rain, or a combination of the events are possible within the next 36 to 48 hours. You should review your winter storm plans and stay informed of the weather. A winter storm warning is issued when severe winter conditions have begun or are about to begin in your area within about 24 hours. This means there will be 6 inches or more of snow and or ice accumulations of a 1/4 inch or more, and all of this is a threat to life and property. You should take precautions immediately.
Natural disasters affect the lives of many people each year, and they can happen anytime and anywhere. Preparation is the key to safety. By knowing the capabilities and needs of the people you support, being informed as to whether tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, and winter storms could occur in your community, having a disaster plan in place, keeping a disaster supplies kit available, and knowing how to support people before, during, and after a disaster will help ensure you and the people you support are prepared for a natural disaster.